All right, then I think we should start. And meanwhile, people will, keep joining us. Is that okay, Aslan?
Yep, let me share my screen.
Sure. All right, then. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. I am Mariam, I'm Community and Partnership Manager at Remote Based. For today's session, we have Arsalan Khattak here, who's a content creator and helps developers learn front-end technologies. Along with that, he has collaborated with the companies like GitHub and FreeCodeCamp to create technical content, which he continue to do as well. Today, he's going to talk about building robust backend systems with Supabase. So thank you so much, Arsalan, for being here. And without any further delays, I'll just pass it to you.
Thank you for the nice introduction. So, hey folks, let's get started because I think I just have 30 minutes. So I will make sure that I wrap it up on time. So yeah, my name is Arsalan. As Mariam said, I am a developer advocate, and this session is about Supabase, how to use Supabase, and what exactly is Supabase, and what does it do, and why do you need to even care about that, how to use it. So with that, let's start this. And since Mariam already introduced me, so there's nothing much about me, but I am a developer advocate. I advocate for front-end technologies. I used to work for MLH, Major League Hacking, but I was laid off recently last month. But apart from this, I am actively making content on Instagram as well as on YouTube. So that's a little bit about me. And with that, let's jump into it. So what exactly is Supabase? And by the way, this is, I'm going through a theory just to give you a quick idea of what it is and what are the things that it can do for you. And then we will move on towards a hands-on, and we will try to make a very basic application using a Supabase, using the database and one of its service. So yeah, so what exactly is Supabase? It is a backend as a service, which means that if you're working on a project and you need a backend, you do not, and if you want to use Supabase, so in that case, you do not need to make a backend service for your own from scratch. You do not need to code that. Supabase is something that can help you with handling all of the backend tasks. That includes a lot of things, and I will talk about that in just a second, but it is a backend as a service. And if you know about Firebase, and I am sure most of you may know about Firebase, which is something that also helps you and is something that's also a backend as a service. So it's a alternative to Firebase. And another thing is it is open source, so which means that you can contribute to it on GitHub. So that's what is Supabase in a nutshell. Now, what exactly it can help you with? Now, when I said it is an alternative to Supabase, it is an alternative to Firebase. Firebase is there for a very long time, but Supabase is a new technology. So store it, to work with it, and to do all of those tasks with the database. So you have the database support in Supabase. So you can make the database in the Supabase, and you can use that to get the data, send the data, store the data, update the data, etc. Apart from that, it has authentication, one of the most common thing that we need when we are working on a backend, when we are working on an application. So we do need a sign up, sign in, etc. Like those features. So it has support for that, and it's super easy, super quick, and you can set it up in 5 to 10 minutes, within 5 to 10 minutes. So it has authentication. Apart from that, it has storage. And recently Supabase has announced of being able to upload up to 50 GB files. So it has a very large storage. And apart from that, it has real time. It has a real time feature. Now, if you're not sure about what is real time, if you are working on, let's say, if you have used Figma, you can, not Figma, one of the most common example is Google Docs or Google Slides. So there are multiple users and multiple people can join that Google Doc, and all of them can make editing suggestions, comments at the same time. So that's real time. And then the last thing is edge functions. So it also has support for edge functions. So those are some of the things, not some of the things. So those are the things that Supabase can help you with. Now, these are not, Firebase has a lot more than these things, but if you're just starting, or if you're a beginner, or if you do not need very advanced backend, so in that case, Supabase can help you with all of the things that you need. So these are the things that Supabase can help you with. Now, talking about the support, so what technologies are, what frameworks it supports. So the good thing is it has support for many frameworks and many libraries. This includes mobile as well as web technologies. For instance, it has support for all of the popular framework and libraries that includes React.js, Next.js, Flutter, Vue, Svelte, and many, many more. And you can see the whole list on Supabase website, and the link is supabase.com/talks. So that is a general idea of what is Supabase. And with that, now we know about what is Supabase, what are the features, what it can do for us, and what are the support. So with that, let's jump into the hands-on, and we can try making a very simple application using Next.js. And what we will do is, so I talk about it has all of those features, but we will try to make a simple Next.js application which can do interaction with database. So we will be using Supabase database, and we'll have a front-end application made in Next.js. And we can do that within the 30 minutes that we have for this session. So for that, I need to stop sharing my screen, and I will reshare my VS Code. So just give me a second, and then we can I can share this again. All right, I assume my screen is shared. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and let's do this. So this is, so to save some time, I have already created this project, and there I have not done any changes as of now. This is just a simple npx create next app. So I just did this. So there isn't anything, I did not do any modification here, no changes. So this is just the Next.js template that I created. So with that, let's get started. Now, this is a very simple application. But I will probably need to share my whole screen so that you can see my my browser as well. But for now, yeah, I will need to share my whole screen. So just give me a second. Let me stop sharing and share again my full screen. Let me do some resizing. All right. All right, give me a thumbs up if this is visible, if the text is visible. All right, sounds good. All right, so I assume you can read whatever is written here, whatever the file names are. If it's not, let me know in the chat, and I can zoom this, either the browser or the VS Code. But yeah, so to get started with this, the first thing we need to do is we need to log into a Supabase website. And for that, we need to go to supabase.com, and then I can zoom this a bit, and then go with the sign in. So I have already made an account, and it's a very quick thing. So you can do that. And then when you make an account, so it looks something like this, and there are no projects. So to start with the Supabase, you need to create a project. So what I need to do is I click on new project, and then under this, I have to choose organization. So by default, you will have one organization that you have to zoom both windows. I hope this is visible now. All right. So yeah, you have to create a new organization when you're about to sign up. You need to have at least one organization. Within that, each organization, you need to create a project. So every time you are working on a project, you need to create in a project for that. So let's create a new project, and I will name this remote based. And then we need to give it a password for the database that it will have. So with that, we can select the region, but for now, I can maybe select India, and we can go with the free plan because we are not going to do things that for which we need the paid plan. So free plan is enough for us, and then create project. Now, when we create project, when we click on create project, it takes some time to initiate that project for you. It takes some time to do all of those processing. So as you can see this right now, setting up the project. So it will take some time, but meanwhile, we can work on the rest of the things. So what I need to do here is we will be making a very simple application. And here, since the focus is on Supabase, I am not going to design the app. I'm not going to focus on CSS. This will be simple HTML only content here. So I am going to start this server first. So vm run app, and then open this server in the browser. So this is my server right now. This is my project right now. So with this, let me remove all of this code, and then we can start working on this. So this is out of the default code, and let me remove all of this. And hello Supabase. I save this. This is how it looks. And let me remove the default styling as well, except for the tailwind. So yeah, this is how it looks. And with that, let's add some style here. So this should be text 5XL and font bold. Right. So what we need to do here is we need to make a very simple website which can interact with our database. So right now we will make a database in Supabase, and then we will fetch the data from that database within Supabase, and then we will see if we can also push something there. So for this, what I can do here is I first need to go to my Supabase, and then here in the SQL editor, I need to go here, and I'm going to make a simple to-do application. So here I go to my SQL editor in the Supabase, and then click on new query. So you can either click on this, or from here you can create table. And by the way, these are all of these are some templates that you can use. For example, there is user management startup. Now, this is an example if you want to go with authentication, if you want to set up authentication for this. So in that case, you can use user management starter template. So yeah, these are all of these are templates. So I will go with a scratch. I will go with an empty one, and here I am going to write the database for the app. And Supabase use PostgreSQL. So here I am going to write my SQL. So this should be create table, and let me zoom this even more so that it is visible. And as I said, I am going to go with a to-do application. So this will be create table to-dos, and then within that to-dos, I will have an ID with which will be a primary key. And then another thing is to keep it simple, I will just have a name here, nothing much, not to make it fancy. And then this should be not null. So this should always have a value. And then the next thing is we can maybe start with adding some data initially so that it has some content, it has some data in this database. So for that, I can insert the data here. So insert into to-dos, and this should be name and then values. And I can do in the house, the to-do item, and then copy this, paste this here again, and maybe bring cat food. I have these two items, and I created this table. Now, nothing happened yet as of now, but when I do command enter, I'll click on this button, it will start running, and it says invalid SQL. So let's see what is wrong here, and then we can fix that. So I think the semicolon is missing here. So let's try this again. Nope, does not work. So maybe something else. Let's remove this, and then let's try this again. And this will work. Yes. So now it worked. All right. So our SQL, our table has been created, and our data has been added. And we know that by getting this message success, no was returned. Now, how can we confirm that this has been this has worked? So I am going to name this to-dos. And yeah, so if I now go to my database, I can see in the database there is to-dos, and it has it has two columns. Now, if I click on those two columns, I can see it has ID. It has ID and it has name, and the ID is integer and the name is character. So this means that we have our to-dos. We have the to-dos table set up here. Now, with that, let's go back to our. Let's go back. If I go to the table editor and I click on to-dos, it will show me the list of all of the items that I have here. So I can see the two items that I created, and that is here. Now, with that, let's move on and see how we can get these data, how we can get this data in our this project, in our Next.js project. So for that, let me remove the extra things that we don't need here. And with that, let's stop the server, because we need to install an npm package here. And then that npm package is called Supabase.js. So it is at Supabase /Supabase-js. So let's wait for this to be completed. And while this is working, when we have to connect our project with the Supabase, we need to go to the settings, and then under settings, we need to go to the API. And then in API, we need this path and this key. So we need these two strings. So for that, I can either put this directly here, or I can make a .env variable. So to keep things clean, I will make a .env, and I can do Supabase _URL and copy this and paste this here. So that is one thing. And then I need this key as well. So this should be Supabase _anon equals to and this key. So that being said, I have now both of these in my local environment. Now let's head back to the index.js, and here what I can do is I need to import my something from Supabase, and that is create client. So once we import this, then we need to create. So I can either create this in a new file, or I can create this here. So if you're working on if you think that you will need it on multiple pages, so in that case you can put it in a single file and then export it. But in this case, I will need that function only here, since this is a test application, a demo application. So I am not going to use it in other files. So for that, I am just going to use it here. So for that, with that, I will create the const Supabase equals to create client. And then here I need the two environment variables I have. The one is the Supabase URL, and the other one is Supabase anon. So to import this, I can do process.env.supabase.url, and then process.env.supabase_anon. So save this, and before using this, let's also make sure that we did get the import. So process.env.supabase and then _anon. So let's try and let's see if what happens when we console log them. Do we get the data? So let's open the inspector and let's see if we get the data. If I refresh and nothing happens here, so let's see why is that not working. Process.env Supabase URL is required. All right. Okay, so let's see what exactly is happening here. So maybe let's try copying this and putting it directly here, and then we can figure out why why the .env is not working once we are done with this, if we have enough time. And this should be this part. All right. With that being said, this started working. So yeah, we can figure this part later. But for now, all right. So we can figure this part later, why this is not working. So with that, now we have Supabase, and if I log this here, console log Supabase, let's see what happens here. If I go to my inspect and I go to my console, if I refresh, you can see Supabase client. So I have now Supabase client, which has all of these functions. So with that being said, now we are connected with with this project. So the next thing is we have to interact with our database, and that within that database we have just one table, and we need to get the data from that one table, that is to-dos. So let's do that. What I need here is I will make a unordered list. And again, the focus is not on the CSS or the styling. So I am not going to add any style. It's a simple HTML only content. And within here, I will have this is how my items will look like. So this will be cat food and house cleaning. So this is how it will look. So where for that, I MB8. So for that, I need to make an API call to the backend to this database. And since we already connected our front-end project with the backend using the Supabase, so what I can do here is, if you have used Next.js, you have an idea of how to make API calls, and that is through this function that I am going to use right now. This is a Next.js function, and that is get server-side props. And within this function, we will make an API call here. So this API call is Supabase.from, and then within from, I need to add the table name. So in this case, I have the table to-dos. And then after this, I can do select. And then within select, I can give it options if I want to get something specific, but I do not want to get something specific. I want to get all of the data that I have. So Supabase.from to-dos.select, and then this is, by the way, this is how in API calls work in Next.js. That is through get server-side props. And this is the syntax. So you have to return whatever data, the data you want to use in your GSX. So in this case, it should return props, and within props, to-do should be data. So if I save this now, I will have access to this data. So if I go back to the home, and then here I can do props, and then here I can do const data equals to props. To save time, to keep this keep the code clean, I can remove props and I can destructure it right here. So it should be to-dos. And after this, I can, so let's see if this works here. Console log to-dos. Let's first see if this works, and then we can put this on, show this on the website. So if I refresh the page, and yes, this works. So we have both of the items. So this is clean the house and bring cat food. Now let's put that here. So in this case, it should be a map function on to-dos. So this is to-dos.map and then to-do. And then inside this, I will make a list item with the value of to-do.name. And then it should be to-do.id. Save this, I get these two items here. Yeah. Now, if we have those two items here as well. So let's see if I can insert here something. So list item and save it. And so we have now 3 items. Now if I go back, we still have 2 items, but if I refresh the page, now we have 3 items. So with that being said, let me also create a style of text to exec. So yeah, now this is how it works. And this is how you can, Yeah, so this is how you can interact with your database from Supabase. Now, another thing we can do is, let's see how we can get the item. We just tested how we can get the items, but let's see how we can set the items or how we can update the items. So for that, forgot the command, so what I can do is I can just do Supabase and see what we have here, and then from that, since this is a function that I need, so dot from to do's. So let's see what do we get here, and then from here I can get an idea of what that function name is. So this should be Supabase client, and all right. Let's do a quick Google research to see how do we get that. So this should be code. And meanwhile, if you have any question, feel free to ask. I figured this out. What is that exact command? I think it is .set. Maybe we can try this for now. A quick demo. So, but before that, I just want to cross-check that so that we don't get any bugs. But I think it is from.set. So that should be it is from.insert. So a good way is to have an input field and then it's a button. But I can add a constant data. I can add a static data. So I can simply make a button and insert new item. Save this, and this button should have some padding margin from the top, and it should have border. And then so let me just style this button a bit, and then we can work with this. Order this too. All right, and -m_4. So yeah, this is the button. So when we click on this, it should add something, add a new record here. So let's do that. So on click, so whenever a click happens here, I want that it inserts a new record. So let's start with let's just since we are doing this just for testing, so let's just do static data. So what I can do here is I can copy this, and this should be, I paste it here, and then rather than select, I can do insert, and then in insert I can send an object. So I do not need an ID, but I need a name. So name should be let's say a vehicle, and save this. Now this is static, which means that every time we do this, it will send that item to the database. So let's see this. If I refresh the page, and if I click on this, and now if I go back here and refresh this, so let's see if something happens. Nope, nothing happens. Let's I think we just missed something. So maybe const data, const response equals to, and then I can do to see if this is working. Now if I refresh this and go to my inspect, so that we can see if whatever we just tried, is that working or not. And here, if I click on the insert, all right, it says error. So let's see what exactly is the error. Yeah, this should be, we are missing something here. So maybe I can give an ID here, and that ID should be 5, and then save this. And then let's try this again. On click, async, yeah, this should work. Right, let's try this again and go to inspect, console 409. So let's see what the error is. ID 5 already exists. All right, oh yeah, it already added all of those IDs. Yeah, by vehicle. Now, if I, this is static data, this is constant, this is always going to be the same. But if what I want is, the last thing we can test here is, I want that I should have an input field here, and then whatever the value of that input is, that should be added. So for that, I can import stats, use stat, and then here, I can do item, set item, and this should be use stat. And then right before this button, I can do input type equals to text, and then this is this should be value equals to item. Someone is asking what kind of query builder is Supabase using under the hood, or is it their own? So they are using Postgres SQL, Postgres, and if I showed you the syntax as well, that's also the Postgres. So yeah, they use Postgres under the hood. And all right, so we have value, and then on change. So on change should be that item, and this should be e.target value. So if I save this, and I have missed the closing tags, so yeah, text is not defined. It should be this. All right, let's give it a star border, and then border 2, and then E4, and then text dash to Excel. Okay, so we have this as we can see, and maybe give it a margin of left of 4. So yeah, we have now this. Now every time we want to, what we want is whatever the value is here, whenever we click on insert new item, should use that item. So for that, first I think I need to remove the ID. I don't need it. And then here, rather than buy a vehicle in double quotes, I can do item and save this. So all right, with that, refresh the page, and then here, new to do item. Insert new item, and let's wait for it for a second, and then go back here, and then go to the table editor, and then go to the to-dos, and this might take a few seconds, and we have this here, new to-do item. Now, if I go back here and refresh the page, I can see new to-do item. So that is how it works. That is a very quick demonstration of how you can use Supabase to Supabase with the database feature it has, and interact with it. So within under 5 to 10 minutes, you can set up Supabase, you can set up your own database, and you can interact with database. Now this is one of the most basic feature, but it has a lot of other features. For example, you can do authentication with it. You can it sets up authentication for you within 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that, once you set that up, you will be able to log in with Google, log in with Apple, and then also when you register your account, it has the email message as well, email verification, so that you do not get any spam registrations. So that all of that can be done in under 5 to 10 minutes, and it's making things super easy and super simple for you. So that is one of the feature of database. That is database. So that is that I just demonstrated. And yeah, since we just have 40 minutes, so that was the only example I could give to you. But I hope you got an idea of how to what exactly is Supabase, how to use it, especially the database feature, and how to use the data, how to set up database within Supabase for your project. So that is a quick demonstration. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yes, Ima.
Yeah, thank you very much, Arsalan. That was a very awesome presentation. So my question is, can Supabase, I mean, it says build robust applications, right? Can it build like really, really complex systems and software? Can Supabase do that? And what could probably be the cons if it exists? Yeah, thank you.
So that depends on what exactly you want to build. And as I said initially, there are some, since Supabase is new in the industry, like not that old as compared to Firebase. So maybe let's say you want to do things related to machine learning. Now, those are the things that are not supported in Supabase, but those and those are the things that is supported in Firebase, because Firebase is there for almost a decade now. So if you have to do, let's say, machine learning, analytics, etc., so in that case, you cannot do that with Supabase, but that is possible with Firebase. So it has like some of those restrictions, but except for that, considering like whatever the feature it has right now, that is like making a real-time application that, for example, making a Figma, something like Figma or Google Doc. Now that is something possible because it has real-time support. So considering whatever the feature it has right now, authentication, database, real-time edge functions, storage, etc. So if anything falls within that, chances are you can make that using Supabase.
Thank you.
All right, then. I can see a couple of questions in the chat box. So I would request, if you have any questions, please raise your hand, and then I'll allow you to unmute yourself and ask question directly with Arsalan. Anyone? Yes. Yes, John Paul.
Hi, good afternoon. So first of all, thank you for the awesome presentation. I really learned a lot. So I wanted to ask if Supabase supports app distribution for building for Android and iOS devices.
I am not sure of that as of now, but I think it does not. I think Firebase does, but whatever my understanding is that it does not support app distribution as of now.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. I hope it helps. Anyone else would like to go? Anyone out there? All right, then I should assume that everyone is good with it. So yeah, thank you, Arsalan. Thank you so much for this wonderful session and for your time. It was so great to have you. Oh, we got a question, I guess. All right, someone just thought. Okay. Oh, no worries, Vadeep. All right. Yeah, thank you, Arsalan. Any final thoughts, anything you would like to add before we end the session?
Thanks for having me. That's all I can say for now.
Awesome, thank you. Looking forward to having you again, and thank you everyone who joined. It was great to have you all, and I hope it really helped you all. See you guys in the next session. Please keep checking your emails for the next updates. So thank you, and bye everyone. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Yeah, bye-bye.